What's up, y'all? Back for another Talk Tuesday. This time we got a little different format going on. Got my man, the cameraman, Trevino, Big Dog, aka Will Slap You.
Well, not.
Aka Big Stomper.
We're not doing that.
Aka Lil Durk. I'm just playing.
I'll take that one.
None of these are real nicknames. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Eminem Challenge, Fast Rap, Royce's new album, of course. We're going to talk about job transition and kind of like how that goes with both of us. We both have experienced that. You guys have probably experienced that at some point in your life. And then we're going to do a live stream here in a minute, which you guys will see here in a second. So this will all make sense, full circle, where you guys get to pick a topic that we'll touch on for the third topic. So, all right, let's hop right in. So yeah, I've been seeing this Eminem Challenge on Facebook.
So you saw it on Facebook. I saw it on TikTok for the first time. On there, and some dude was literally, he looked at it, he just looked at something, and then he just started spitting that Godzilla verse, right?
Yeah.
It was scary.
Somebody tagged me and it was like, hey, why don't you do the Eminem? I was like, no. Not happening. Not at all.
No.
Never.
And it's tough because he's going so freaking fast, and you can't even really understand what he's saying. I couldn't understand what Eminem's saying, but that's the appeal. You know, you want that to be, that's cool because, oh, that's dope because he's rapping so fast. Personally, I like to be able to understand and hear what's being said.
Right.
I like to understand the lyrics. I want to know the purpose behind it, and I want to listen to a story that's being told. I don't get all woo wow wafty woo about Eminem Challenge. That's just not something.
It was interesting to me because, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about it on this, is just fast rapping in general. Because first of all, I tried it, and nobody will ever see it, but I tried it. Like so it made me just think about, and I've been wanting to talk about this with somebody about fast rapping just in general, because like, it's cool, we like it, we love it. Like, there's a lot of rappers that do it now. A lot of people try to put it in like their armoire of like different things they can roll out. You know, you got Logic, you got Busy Bone Thugs and Harmony, you got Twista, you got you know, a lot of different rap. Eminem, of course. I mean, a lot of people can do it. Busta Rhymes. Okay, it's cool to showcase it. It's cool to do it. But when you think about some of the most legendary rappers, you know, your Biggie or Tupac, I don't remember either one of them rapping really fast. Now, maybe they did and I just didn't hear it. But if they did do it, they didn't do it often.
Not at all. I don't remember it either.
And then Jay-Z, like, he's got some speed to him, but even he doesn't do a whole lot of fast rap. Right. And then I remember Kanye in an interview one time saying that he used to be lyrical. You know, a lot of people are like, I want the old Kanye back. Right. And he used to be lyrical miracle in your swimming pool. And he stopped doing that because he was like, I learned that it's best to just keep the message simple and then people can understand it and people rock with it more. Yeah. And that really vibe with me because I feel like I'm the same way. Like, I really want to be lyrical and stuff sometimes, but sometimes it's best to just, you know, just go with it. Right. Like, and just tell a story and really try to be conversational instead of all that twisting and stuff. So it made me think about, like, and then there's some rappers, but we've gone back and forth about Logic. Right. And I like Logic. I'm a Logic fan. But I think you probably are more hardcore of a Logic fan.
And it's odd because you put me on. To me, because everything's got to relate to football for me to make sense. So I think about fast rap. It's not essential to you being a great rapper, right? Because not everybody that's been successful, as you said, the legends haven't done it. But it's a wow. It's a big wow. So like I think about, you know, some of the football players, the receivers, you know, they can do a backflip and they can run and catch a ball when they do a backflip at practice. Wow, backflip at practice, that's awesome. You ain't gonna do it in the game because you're gonna get lit up, you know? So it's something that will always bring that entertainment, that wow, but it's not gonna be something that's gonna take you to, you know, legendary awards unless you're Twista, because he's Guinness World Record. But I think that's probably all he's ever done. Just made it in the Guinness World Record book. So, overnight celebrity.
Right. There's even like a lot of fans that are asking rappers now, like, what's your syllables per second? Like, they're really into it. And I'm just like, that's so weird because, I don't know. Like, I kind of get both sides, so I understand it. Like, I see the speed is impressive. It's straight up. It's impressive to to say and bend words in a certain way so fast. But sometimes with like Logic specifically, we've talked about some, not all of his stuff, but some of his stuff where he's twisting, I'll be listening and I come away with nothing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he didn't really say anything like Homicide. Yeah. Where he's like, I'm killing it, I'm feeling it, you feeling this, yeah, you feeling this, you know, something when I'm feeling this, yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm just like, bro, you said the same line like 6 times. And like you said, not everything has to tell a story. Not everything has to be this deep point.
Right.
Sometimes people just want to bop. I think sometimes he can drop a whole album of that, and I'm just like, what just happened?
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah. But I think that's
different takes.
I think that's a good point because, you know, kind of transitioning into Royce, where you're coming from. I don't know if Royce has ever been that flashy except for his. Apparently he had a. What was it, a gemstone do-rag or something?
Yeah, a rhinestone do-rag.
Rhinestone do-rag, which is one of the songs on his album. But that's probably as flashy as he's ever gotten. In my mind, I haven't listened to him extensively, but
yeah,
I watched that video of him on the Breakfast Club, and I was looking at that interview.
Oh yeah, that interview.
And you know, coming from fast rap and the Eminem challenge and how that's just kind of flashy and this and that, it seems like he's kind of still staying away from that. And he's just sticking in his Royce road, like a better term. Rolls Royce driving on the road.
Oh my God. Get him out of here. Ghost Rider right here for hire.
But yeah, no, he's sticking on the same track and he's not conforming to kind of what everybody else is doing. And, you know, kind of that flashiness. He's sticking to old school Royce. And I've only heard, like I said, a handful of songs from him.
Right.
One of my favorites is that Caterpillar, which wasn't on this album.
That was hard.
But it was just, that was dope. And Logic was on that too, so the remix.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that. He was snuck it in like one of the last songs on the album. No, yeah, Royce is an interesting character, man. Of course, we're talking about the Allegory. It just came out a few days ago. I've had a chance to listen to it, pretty much almost all of it. I need to listen to like 2 more songs, the last 2. But I listened to a lot of the album, and then I had a chance to watch the interview you sent me from the Breakfast Club.
Yes. What would you say is your overall take from that album? Or what did you, your overall take from it? What did you get from it?
So it's hard to not take it in context with what Roy said on the interview.
Right.
Which he kind of said is kind of scatterbrained. It's kind of... It's like an abstract painting with a splotch of paint here, a splotch of paint here, and he was, you know, they kept asking him, kind of like low-key grilling him about, well, how did you do this album? Like, what was the concept? And he was just kind of like, I mean, it was an idea that kept growing. Like, he did a couple songs, and then he wanted it to be an EP, but he couldn't make it a complete thought in like 6 songs, so he kept adding to it. Right. Next thing you know, it became an album. But it seems like, and he said this in a way, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said it kind of happened to him. The album kind of happened to him. He didn't really try to find the album and create the album, which he said that's like one of the first times. But just as a rapper in general, I'll start there. Like, he's just kind of unique. Like, he kind of embraces being underground.
Yeah.
Because I think he's still seeing money. He's still best friends with the best rapper alive in Eminem. They grew up in Detroit together, so they've got like this deep history. So what is he not getting exactly? He's got women, he's got a family, he's got a wife, he's got kids. I don't think he's won any like big time awards and stuff, but that doesn't seem to faze him because he feels like it's all like, what's the point, you know, kind of?
Yeah.
He has that kind of attitude, and he legitimately sees himself as an OG, and I feel like I see him that way now too, even more after watching that interview. But he just kind of has a different approach to me, where a lot of other rappers is very clear, cutthroat. You know, I'm trying to get a deal, I'm trying to get big, I'm trying to make money, I'm trying to get these cars, clothes, and all this. And he wears clothes, like he's swagged out, like he does different things. A lot of you all may have seen him in like the different ciphers they do on the BET Awards and stuff like that. He always steps out in something crazy and he raps in it. But like, I mean, he's not really, he don't talk a lot about the fashion and all, like he doesn't care about that kind of stuff.
Right.
And all the accolades and all the stuff. Like he just...
It's interesting though, because but like, he'll do something like where he had that ring. They mentioned that ring.
Oh yeah.
It's a ring of a goat.
In the interview.
And it's interesting, he's being humble, by saying, yeah, man, I ain't really about all that. I ain't trying to be all that or be around that, or this ain't my kind of style. I don't
But you wearing a
conform,
goat ring.
but I'm the best. It's just like, wait, so you the best, but all these other people got, and maybe, and I kind of think that's what he's getting at with this album is, you know, he's trying to teach other people how to do it kind of the way that he did it.
Yeah.
And kind of showing, you know, a younger generation, you ain't got to be all this and do all this.
Right.
To be able to be successful. You can still be the GOAT and be like me and do what I did, which is just an interesting take on it because people don't know him like they know Logic, and he's not as, you know, he's not on the screen as much as you see, you know, Eminem and,
right.
you know, every other rapper or anybody who's hot now. You know, he's not on the big screen, he's not played on the radio like that, so it's interesting to see that. But it just draws me toward him because I want to know more, you know. So
yeah, and he's very intellectual. He's very smart, and you know, you listen to his lyrics. I mean, you can tell in his lyrics he's smart, but also he'll say just some ratchet stuff, just to kind of bring it back hood to you, just to make sure you don't forget where he came from. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it'll be like they come back and they back to you like Shaka Zulu, and then he'll go jump off and say something crazy like the intellect, I've been in that, and then and you'd be like, what just happened?
Yeah, it's like a good blend, and how you can still appeal. But yeah, that's pretty dope. And what was your favorite song on the album? We ain't gonna play none, because just in case we tryna.
Plus, you know, Facebook be like, your rights to this music ain't available.
I hate putting that on there. I do not own, of course I don't. Do I look like I own rights to some songs? Bro, look what I'm wearing. I don't own nothing. This ain't even my shirt. I borrowed it. I own nothing.
But there's a few I like on there. I like the Allegory, or I like, sorry, that's the name of the album, Allegory.
That's the whole name.
I like the Pendulum. The Lord swings the pendulum.
Yes, that was pretty. I listened to that multiple times. That's why I didn't get finished with the album, and I still couldn't figure out exactly what he's aiming at. But I be thinking too much too. So my favorite song I'll just share real quick is Upside Down.
Okay, that's the single I think that he dropped.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because he's got like a video for that one.
Man, that song is dope.
Overcomer, I haven't been able to get that out of my head. Like just that, like he's really good on those space type songs where it's just like the beat has a lot of room. It's really airy, and he can switch up different flows. That's actually where I got that from. Like I started learning that from him. Because like he has, I'm like, bro, you get a spacey beat and you could be like, come to pinnacle, and then you go back into a different flow, and I'm like, bruh. To me, Royce has mastered flow. Like he's mastered it. He could do fast, he could do slow, he could do thug, he could do intellect, he could do girl song, he could do whatever you want. So to me, he's one of the few rappers that's really, truly like mastered it.
I'll have to listen to some more. What he's obviously with this album, but I gotta go back and listen to some of his older stuff because, you know, like I said, I'm pretty limited on it, but I'm excited about this one for sure.
Yeah, and his singles, I mean, he never is not gonna make a song that's gonna necessarily be on the radio. Not here in like where we live, maybe in like New York they spin it. Yeah. But like, you know, he's just not worried about that. He's trying to give you real as much as he can. Yeah. So Overcomer, Pendulum, I'd say Fubu. That song is dope. Yeah. Tricked, which is kind of weird. Like just the pacing of it's kind of weird, but I like it because they're spitting some real stuff about like the industry and him and Crooked I. That's Crooked I, but he changes his name to King Crooked. I don't know how many years ago he did that, but it was recent, like in the last 5 years. Okay. But it used to be Crooked I. But anyway, it's just a weird song. But it's like, you know, you've been tricked. You know, your A&R, I think one of the lines is like your A&R will tell you it costs 5, but take out 10 out of the account. You've been tricked. Tricked, you've been tricked. Killer, you've been tricked. Like
that's crazy. Like, and I learned just from that interview and a few of these songs a little bit about how that industry, because I ain't been nowhere near it, never looked at it. You know, you see the rapper for what they are, face value, and what they talk about on there, but some of them be getting trashed on their deals. That's crazy. And I couldn't believe that.
Rhinestone Do-Rag. I was mad that song's only like a minute something. Yeah. I was like, bro, he needs to go in on that. Because that could have been like a really deep thought. Because it already was just the thought of, I think his line is, I wore the rhinestone do-rag so you don't got to. Like, this generation doesn't have to. It's kind of like a metaphor. Like, this generation, you don't have to follow the same mistakes that I made.
Right.
Like, you could do you now.
It's really fatherly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
He took that beating so you didn't have to.
Right.
You know, visually and did that. That's really odd. But it's admirable. That's why I want to dig in more and be like, what is he really about? And he also in an interview talked about, you know, some of his issues with you know, infidelity and his relationship with his wife and stuff like that, and it's just really hard to keep that up. And it was interesting to, you know, for him to just kind of put all that out there. And he also talked about there's a song on there about some beef with Yellow Wolf.
Oh yeah, I've heard. Was that Pendulum? That was on something.
I guess it's not really beef. He just kind of called him out and then left it what it was, and so it was more of a warning.
Which is weird. Which I'm starting to get like that too, where when you start having deep feelings about things, you write it in a verse and then you leave it alone. It's almost like you've said what you needed to say. Because I get people coming up, man, why don't you rap about your mom, or why don't you talk about this? And it's like, whenever I do put it on wax, it's on wax. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't need to say it no more. You don't need to talk about it. And he talks about in the interview how it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
But one of the things he said about the Yellow Wolf thing is that he wasn't going to talk about it. He was like, you know, it's like it's on there, and he was like, I'm going to just leave it at that.
He's like, I'll tell you off camera if you want to hear about it, but I ain't finna just air it out like that.
Mm-hmm. Which is weird.
Yeah, which probably admirable, and he probably knows, and it makes me wonder as well, because there are a lot of entertainers, rappers out there that will purposefully put something out there just for that press.
Right.
And then be like, man, no, I ain't even trying to, but they did it on purpose. And they just wanted to be trending on Twitter, they want to be talked about, and then they'd be like, oh, by the way, I got a new single coming out. And they just use it for the attention. You know, so maybe he just didn't want to make it seem like he was doing that. Who knows?
Which they asked him, they said, do you think he's doing this because he's Yellow Wolf and he's not maybe getting the attention that the other guys in Slaughterhouse are getting? And he was like, nah, it's not that at all. Mm-hmm. Which is weird. I would think that too. I see why Charlamagne the God said that, because when I think of Yellow Wolf, he has a really weird niche.
Yeah.
He's trying to reach like the country folk who like hip hop. Like the crossover, yeah. You know, like the Kid Rock fans,
right?
But not even because Kid Rock is not doing lyrical. Like right. Yellow Wolf he could spit,
right?
But it's like not quite Eminem. It's like more like Dirt Highway than Eminem. His audience,
like so they took the trailer out the trailer park and they're on the highway now,
bro. And he embraces it. He's like Highway 35, something in the mind. I'm like, bro, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Then I switched jobs, as you probably already know,
right?
A while ago. This was May of last year, May of 2019. You know, I got a new job and I'm working at UK doing IT. And that's dope. So it's been amazing. But the job I had prior to that, we'll just call it corporate America and sales, because I ain't trying to put it out there. It's on my Facebook profile. It's a former position.
What?
Oh, that mic ain't gonna pick that up.
Oh, okay.
I know it heard it. But yeah, so anyway, it wasn't even bad though. So I went into that job, you know, coming from working in the foster care field. So,
okay, yeah.
And where I was uncomfortable in the foster care field was working so much and not getting paid what I felt like I was worth. Mm-hmm. You know, it just didn't pay well. So
welcome to social work.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go, and I always go to the extreme. Whatever I do, mm-hmm. you know, when I'm not grounded, I go to the extreme. So I was like, I ain't getting paid enough here. I don't feel like I'm getting paid what I'm worth. Supervisors kind of whatever. I'm gonna go do and get paid commission, and I can literally get paid what I'm worth, work the amount of hours I want, earn what I want. So I went to the sales field. I did that for over 3.5 years, and it was good. At the very beginning, I was one of the top sales reps in my store, humbly the best, but the GOAT. I ain't got no ring, but
shout out to Royce.
At times, but it was good because it fit right in with my personality. You know, I'm competitive when it comes to certain things, and I feel like, you know, if I'm going to excel at it, I'm gonna beat you. So, you know, I did that for a while, and you know, that transition after I got a promotion to a manager, things just changed a lot, because then managing people is not fun, and managing people who don't want to do their job is even worse. I hesitated saying that, but I don't care what y'all think. if you want to do your job, just don't work. You know, it'd be easier. But anyway,
management, especially in like those kind of realms, is not a promotion to me.
Man,
it's like more work for like maybe $1 more pay. And even then, with that $1 more pay, you're gonna be working like 50, 60 hours, like something crazy.
Imagine getting paid less.
It's like when I used to work at pizza. Like I used to do pizza, and it was like, do you really want to be a manager? Like, our manager look like they've been through a nightmare. Like,
not even worth it.
They going extra hard.
It's tough because people are, you know, to an extent unmotivated, and you just imagine someone who's unmotivated in a sales job. Your whole job should, you know, the reason I got
self-motivation.
Yeah. I mean,
you have to get sales to win.
When you're having to rely on other people for that motivation and for that excitement, you're done. But then you don't want to leave because the money's so good. So, you know, but anyway, getting into that transition, you know, when I transitioned, the reason why it was so tough, when I transitioned into my current position, because of the speed and the pace of a sales job, of retail, going into IT, which is still pretty fast. You want to help people and stuff, but I realized the difference one day. I was riding down an elevator on the way to go help somebody, and the poison and there was, you talk about fear. I felt like I was not doing my job because I wasn't working. But what you gonna do on the elevator?
Right.
So I'm like, I need to be checking emails. I need to be doing something. I can't. This is time I need to be using. That's how it was in retail. So riding the elevator, just going to help somebody, and I'm like, oh, I gotta be doing something. I gotta be doing something. Gotta be doing something. That's so toxic.
Yeah.
And so that transition was really hard. Just, you know, getting used to that and the pace of that. You know, there's a lot of fears, like you mentioned, when it comes to transitioning and just doing different jobs, and there's a lot of things that you can, you know, that'll hold you back when it comes to that, especially if it's something that's good. You know, if it's gonna give you something else and you worried about it taking away from a certain aspect of your life, you gotta weigh out that opportunity cost and figure out what's best.
That's the worst, man, is when something is good for you, and it's like when you don't give it to yourself. That's some stuff right there.
It is tough.
That's some stuff. So it's like, you know, and I read somewhere or saw something that talked about successful people take risks. You know, I'm trying to be more of a risk taker, and there's always good and bad that comes out of it. You know what I'm saying? I take a lot of risks musically.
Yeah.
But in my personal life, maybe not as much. So just learning risk taking, and you still don't want to do just dumb stuff, but you just want to learn more about what, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to go out here and let me try this real quick, see what this is like. You know, so I put this needle right. No, bro, chill. Wait a minute. What are you doing?
Too risky.
Right.
That's too much.
This is way too much. But I know we're being funny, but on the other end of that, though, like, nobody's story starts like that.
Yeah.
Nobody goes, bro, I just was experimenting, and then, bro, I found this. Like, typically, there's a lot of other factors involved. So it's like you can still take a calculated risk and still kind of look into what you're doing. Yeah. Where does it go? What's the trajectory? You know what I'm saying? And look at where you want to go. And a lot of times, man, I see why that statement exists about successful people take risks, because to get there, there's so many steps and so many things that are unseen. You know, I always complain about this, but there's like fruits in it and there's bad things in it. But I talk about how if you want to be a doctor, your life is almost mapped out for you. And that kind of feels good to me, because sometimes I feel like mine is chaos. But in the chaos is where the risks get taken, and when the risks get taken, that's where you end up where you want to go. You're doing your dream instead of, you know, doing like dream B or dream C or just working in an office. So like, you grow up, I want to be a doctor. You're a kid. You grow up, go through high school, get grades, go to college. You go to college, you know what I'm saying? You do what you need to do to go through college. Then you go to med school. You do what you need to do to get through med school. Then you intern at a place, some small place in a small county somewhere. They give you a shot. You operate on dude's arm. He can move his arm. He's throwing footballs. Next thing you know, you go off and now you're a doctor. Then you open your own practice. Now you're making bank. Your whole life was just mapped out. I just did it for you.
Right. You got the risk taker and the non-risk taker. The non-risk taker lives that comfortable life, and like you said, it's mapped out.
Oh, right? I see what you're saying. Yeah.
The non-risk taker, when you experience a loss, you gain experience. So through that loss of experience, sometimes it's detrimental and you got to recover from it, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking of toughness.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that person's probably a little tougher because of that loss and then they grow from it.
Oh, yeah.
And because of that experience. Not to say the doctor hasn't experienced loss, because they probably have. But then I got a little off track and I was like, they can't fight though. So, man, I'll beat that doctor up. I will knock that doctor
You better
out.
not take my temperature ever again. I'm not playing. And that little cuff that gets tight on my arm, bruh, come at me with that, bruh. Feel that flex. Now what's my blood pressure?
But nah, but that's good though. That's good. Well, good luck with that job.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Man.
it sounds like it's
new one too.
yeah. Oh, I'm really looking forward to having my first evaluation.
Oh, that's what's up.
Getting a raise.
Hey,
that's
dope. Lit. So yeah, this has been another Talk Tuesday. I appreciate you guys tuning in each week. Give me your thoughts. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of Trevino being on here. Something new, mixing it up. Let me know what you think of this new format. If it's too long, too short, whatever the case is. All your feedback is all helpful because we're just trying to make the best content we can. So appreciate you guys. Keep tuning in and see you next week. Peace.
All right.